To be recognized by the ULI for the Lifetime Achievement Award is because you've done something outstanding, because you've accomplished a lot for the betterment of our community.
You're looking at a professional who, at this point in his life, has probably accomplished in real estate and in philanthropic efforts and in sports and entertainment the highest level of achievement I've ever seen anybody achieve.
Steve's always looking forward and having this vision for the future and then actually executing on it over time and changing the skyline, changing the landscapes, changing people's lives.
He created a destination for entertainment. He brought all sorts of new events and new sports and has really changed the dynamics of Miami.
Steve's projects have always been transformational. I think it's a great, great honor and a very well-deserved one.
So the story of Steve Ross, what's the big story? The affordable housing was the beginning of his career, so that was the first 15 to 20 years. Stephen built an entire organization and probably became, if not the largest, one of the largest affordable housing developers in America.
Well, Steve and I met when I was 28 and he was 38. We started doing affordable housing in neighborhoods like Alapata, Little Havana, and from early on, Steve had a passion for design, architecture, for projects that were well done and that were going to be iconic.
He did the most brilliant thing imaginable. He built an entire platform and then used that as a stepping stone to really get into more complex luxury real estate development. Stephen wanted to build an organization that could do it all.
So everything from New York, where he did Hudson Yards, which is the largest project not only in New York but in the nation, and is changing a whole area of New York City, to City Place in Palm Beach. His arm has reached extensively into making cities better places in which to live.
For Steve, South Florida, I think it's in his DNA. He went to high school here in North Miami Beach. He feels an obligation and a responsibility to give back to South Florida and also to do it in a big way where he helps change what it is. And he recognizes that this is probably the most dynamic market in the country right now.
He has transformed the sports amenity complexes that we've had here. Probably in the history of South Florida, there isn't a person that has done more for sports and making Miami a city known for sports than Steve.
Steve wanted something different for this stadium. He wanted to improve the sidelines and get closer to the game. There were a lot of objectives here. Some of them functional, some of them aesthetic, some of them perceptual. How does the world see this stadium?
When you think about how Steve's impacted South Florida, I mean, it starts with this multi-million-dollar investment here at Hard Rock Stadium to create this world-class stadium and this venue for football. But then you talk about him bringing in the Miami Open tennis tournament, keeping it here in Miami, which wouldn't have happened without Steve, creating this oasis that was parking lots, and now it's this Miami Open tennis campus. And then you think about the El Clasico, bringing in Barcelona, Real Madrid, international soccer. Then you think about bringing in Formula One.
When we were talking about Formula One, and there were all kinds of problems with making it in downtown, he says, no, we can make it around here. It's going to work, and it's worked even more than in any expectation he or any of us had. So this has been a huge impact in South Florida.
It's exciting to see him back. I'm doing several things with him now. One that is very exciting for me is the new One Brickell City Center office tower, which will be the tallest tower in downtown. And it is an extension of Brickell City Center. It'll be transformational. It will anchor 8th Street, essentially Miami Trail, corner with Brickell Avenue. It's Main on Main,
So the story of City Place is a remarkable story because we created something absolutely beautiful in this community. We had put all the pieces in place here for an incredibly successful, high-quality level of mixed use. We'd successfully executed a 300,000 square foot office building in Okeechobee, 100% leased, 400-room Hilton Hotel, incredibly successful. We brought restoration hardware to this marketplace, and that became City Place here in West Palm Beach, which is now celebrating its 27th or 28th anniversary.
They saw that this was a city that was kind of a mid-sized city, and it was on the cusp of becoming something very special. And they could also see the potential for it to transform even further.
Steve is thinking, what is the setting for these buildings? So there's restaurants and shops, but pedestrian walks and landscape that animate the neighborhood. It is a unique perspective on how to create place not just building.
We are getting the attention of retailers and restaurateurs, the likes of which we could only have hoped for 10 to 15 years ago. Opening up in less than 9 months, a project called 575 Rosemary, which is a luxury rental project with an amenity package like none other.
What you can expect from One Flagler, it is going to be, as Stephen calls it, a 6-star Class A office building. It's a statement building.
The building is 75% leased. We have Milo's, one of the great restaurants in the world, coming into the base. But more important is the fact that we're working hand in hand with the mayor, Keith James.
I don't want this city to just be for those who are uber wealthy. We cannot have a tale of two cities. Stephen gets that. He understands that at the same time that he's building these wonderful buildings, they also need to invest in the infrastructure of some of these underserved neighborhoods and help elevate them so that they can also benefit from the growth that's happening. I see a partner that's helping me build a community and not just a company that's helping build buildings in my city.
He's given back a lot to those communities and to those universities and to those causes that he's involved with. So this award for me means much more than just being a builder, but being a transformational leader in the urban scene.
I remember during the pandemic getting a call from Steve, and he said, "Tom, we need to help people." It was his idea to put together this food relief program. He said, "I'll give $1 million, and if you can raise another $1 million, I'll match it with another $1 million." And we did 1,000 meals a day for over a year for people here in the local Miami Gardens community. And that was really all Steve's initiative, his idea, and his resources that made that possible. That's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of impact he wants to make on people's lives.
Stephen Ross is a game changer because of his ability to see things that others don't see, his visionary capabilities. But you combine that with his ability to get deals done, to get things done. So it's not only the vision, it's the ability to implement that vision, which makes him such a unique person.
Work satisfies him. He loves it. It actualizes him. And that takes him to another level. It's not just to be good, but to be the best.
He can be in a serious meeting with important issues being discussed, and he's totally engaged, and suddenly his phone rings with the Michigan fight song. He's a fan. He loves his college. He loves sports. Like all of us, he's a normal guy.
He's not the kind of owner that shows up and everybody tightens up. He's the kind of person that when he shows up, everybody wants to give him a hug and say hello, and he brings a great energy up to the building.
The future for Steve Ross in South Florida definitely looks exciting. Formula One, football, tennis, office buildings, apartment buildings, retail. What else? Because Steve never stops.
Retirement and Steve are not two words that go together. He loves work, he loves working, he loves people, he loves young people. He loves interacting with young people and asking them questions and learning. He's not someone that thinks he knows everything. He's intellectually curious, he's learning, he's listening, and he's looking forward.
You cannot find an 83-year-old with more vigor and more passion than Steve.
The most important thing for the future for Steve is that we need to win the Super Bowl. No one deserves it more than Steve. No one's more passionate about football or his football team than Steve. That would be the culmination, really, of everything, is Steve Ross holding up the Vince Lombardi trophy.
Well, I'd really like to thank ULI for this Lifetime Achievement Award. I remember starting out in the real estate business and attending ULI meetings and how much I really learned and how I looked up to those who were really came before me and what they've done. And it really went a long way in really creating a lot of my beliefs and understandings of real estate and how communities work. And I think that to receive the award, I remember seeing other notables receiving the award and thinking, my God, would I like to be up there one day? In real estate, what you really learn is what you're doing has such an impact, both today and for the future. And therefore, you have to look at really what the needs of the community are, not just your bottom line. And I think understanding that, you'll end up making more money because everybody enters real estate, hey, I want to become rich and all this, and I can do all these projects. But I think that's a little short-sighted. You cannot be thinking about that all the time. You have to really look at what's in the best interest of the community. And I think that's one thing I really learned from ULI. It's not about just the job, it's about the impact. And I think that's something that, well, now you got your... Yes, goodbye, I'm in my interview. Okay. When I look out to the future, I see so many opportunities that are still there. We're not a mature country. There's opportunities for young people to really start as I did. It really takes perseverance and having passion for what you're doing. And I think the most important thing is to have the passion to do something and be best in class at what you do. And I think, there's nothing better than real estate. I love the development and having the impact that I can have, and the doors that are open and the opportunities that are there, because I really believe that South Florida is really the future of this country.
Steve, congratulations on the Lifetime Achievement Award. There's nobody more deserving than you. You're an icon and a giant in the real estate industry, and this is extremely well deserved. And I'm very proud of being your friend for such a long time.
It's a pleasure to call you my friend, and enjoy this night.
You've impacted so many people's lives, including me and my family, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you as a person, as a business person, and as a friend. Thank you for everything.
There is no one in this industry more deserving of a Lifetime Achievement Award than you.
Because your life definitely represents achievement.